There hasn't been a repeat division champion since 2004. That's the longest active streak among divisions in the NFL. That's the longest in league history. Since 2004, we have not had a back-to-back division champ. And look, he's right about the offensive line. They had told some people that was their number one area of focus and improvement. Nothing has happened. You've gotten worse there. Are you just going to go ahead and draft a bunch of kids and try to throw them up front to play left guard and center? And what are you going to do if Tyron gets banged up at left tackle? As for the schedule, I disagree with him a little bit. And maybe I'm dead wrong. I don't think the Cowboys' schedule is brutal. It can't be brutal when you play in this division. You get the Commanders twice, you get the Giants twice, you get the Eagles twice. You get the Bears, the Lions, the Texans, Jacksonville, Minnesota, and then your harder games are Indianapolis. You may not fear them too much with old Matt Ryan. At Green Bay, at Tennessee, Cincy, Tampa, and the Rams. That's what will be brutal. The Bengals, the Buccaneers, and the Rams. Those are the three, and Green Bay.
Yeah.
So those are four really hard games, but you still get 6 in the East, and you're going up against the Lions, the Texans, and the Bears, and Jacksonville. So that to me is that's not brutal.
You just named 10 wins. They don't play this.
I mean, I don't think we blindly assume undefeated again in the NFC East. Look, that's kind of arrogant.
It's true, but history shows us with Dak Prescott, you can blindly assume 5-1. I think he's gone 5-1 all but 1 year in the East in his career. I think you could blindly assume 5 wins. This is a bad division, and they are going to win 5 games. And then you throw in those other 4. Are they going to lose to the Lions? Are they going to lose to the Texans? Jacksonville? The only thing would be the Bears if they're somehow good. And is that a road game? Is that in Chicago? In November, December, where they always seem to lose? That would stink. But other than that, no, this team is.
Yeah.
They have a built-in 9 wins.
Yeah. So I disagree with Dan on the schedule. Look, this comes down to one thing. One thing. And this one thing for the Cowboys has been weakened, I believe. Dak Prescott. That's how you pick your division winners.
Yeah.
That's how you pick everything in the National Football League for the most part. And the simple sentence is Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts. That's it. Now, Dan thinks Jalen's going to take another step. I've always been a Jalen Hurts doubter. It hurts because he's such a good dude. I just don't believe he can consistently throw the football. They're going to have to continue to win with a high school running type offense unless Jalen Hurts takes some magical leap as a passer. And we've seen it. Like Josh Allen took a crazy leap that nobody could have saw coming. But this should really boil down to Dak over Hurts. And there you go, NFC East. But Dak lost his number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the offensive line is weaker.
It is.
And we have some questions over, Dak Prescott reading defenses and anticipation and maybe his confidence level a little bit. Those would be the arguments to make for Orlovsky along with, so you're married to Vegas, all the trends. How much do you respect this non-repeat division winner since 2004? Because sometimes you bet on things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not a bad bet. I mean,
17 years straight.
17 year streak.
17.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That will never ever be done again.
No,
in any division.
No, I agree. I think the difference is that barring injury, that streak should have broke 2 years ago. Barring injury, the Cowboys should win this division by 4 games or 3 games. They just should. And if they don't, it's because Dak Prescott got hurt. Not because of anything else somebody else did. Now, I guess there's the chance that the Eagles get really, really lucky and go 8-1 in 1-score games, which is just unsustainable. And if that happens, then all bets are off. But if everything holds to form in terms of, there's not really any crazy outliers, then the Cowboys are going to win this division easy. Warren Sharp he added up together each team last year, their wins plus their one-score losses. Okay? So basically, the Cowboys won 12 games, and they had 3 one-score losses. And the reason for that is it's showing, how fickle the league is, for one. And also, if you have a one-score loss, that means that, if you were to run it back, chances are you're not losing that game again. Or maybe you are, but it's basically a 50-50. One-score games in the NFL are basically toss-ups for the most part. Now, again, you can also have a late score to make it a one-score game.
That's my issue.
But you can also be up one score and have a late score to make it a two-score game, when in reality the game was a 50-50. So they probably do even out at some point. But the Cowboys were the second most. So there were 3 teams that had 16 as their total score. So adding up their wins and their one-score losses. Buffalo and Green Bay were one of them, but Minnesota was the other. Minnesota last year, that is to me remarkable, because the Vikings in 2021 finished 8-9, which means they had 8 wins and 8 one-score losses. That's not going to happen again. The Vikings were a much better team than 8-9. So to have 8 wins and then 8 one-score losses, this very easily could have been a 12-13 win team. But then again, you have Kirk Cousins and you had Mike Zimmer. The Cowboys were tied for second at 15 with Kansas City, San Fran, Arizona, Cincinnati, and us. You go all the way down. The Giants and Jacksonville were down at 7, which means they did not lose many one-score games. Detroit is interesting because they had 3 wins, but they lost 7 one-score games this year. So you figure,
and people try to use the one-score game to predict the next year as a turnaround.
They do. If you had a
Bill Barnwell always, he bases the turnarounds off of that.
So one year the Cowboys were like 8-1 in one-score games. That was unsustainable. They were never going to do that again. And so you see, if you have a team that has a lot of one-score wins, cut that number in half the following year, and you're probably going to get an accurate number. For a team like Minnesota, who had 8 one-score losses, or the Lions, who had 7, they probably this year will only have 3 or 4 one-score losses. And now the Lions go from 3 wins to 7, and the Vikings go from 8 to 12. So it's just something to keep an eye on as the season, as you get closer to the season.
And
how
the Cowboys
lucky or
were
unlucky. What? We were not unlucky or lucky. The Cowboys were 4-3 in one-score games.
Okay,
so they were not lucky or unlucky.
So that would seem to be a good thing if you're kind of not affected.
I think it's great because it shows that you were not really impacted by the one-score losses or one-score wins.
You were what you were.
You were what you were. And, if you trade some losses for wins next year, it's really going to even out and not make a whole bunch of difference.